Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be transforming the brake calipers on this F Series BMW. So this is a 4 Series Grand Coupe X-Drive, and it has the M Sport package. As you can see, it's got the door sills and the upgraded front fascia, but rather disappointingly, it's got what looks like Brembo brakes, but they're not painted. So we have multi-piston calipers that look like Brembos, yet they don't come painted from the factory. So that'll be the subject of this video. We're going to be painting the front and rear brake calipers to make them look like they had the M Sport upgrade. So I'll start by removing the wheels and then we'll get set up and take a look. I'm not sure if you guys could tell when I was trying to take those lug nuts off, but they were insanely tight. My Milwaukee was maxed out. I wasn't able to get them off. I had to drill out 2 of them. What a mess. If you guys are going to put your wheels back on, use a torque wrench. Anyway, I'm going to clean up these calipers with a wire brush and Scotch-Brite and some brake cleaner to get them ready for paint. So I'll do that and then I'll come back when they're all ready to go so we can start the process. Alright, so I can't really say if this is the ideal technique, but I'm using a red Scotch-Brite to knock off any corrosion. I used brake cleaner to get rid of any grease, and I use an all-purpose cleaner with a plastic, steel, and brass brush just to kind of knock anything away. Not going for perfection here, but that's my technique, basically to get these ready for paint. And I'm not going to be going for perfect coverage where if you were to take it off the car, it would look like it was painted that way from the factory. I'm just focusing on what you'll be able to see through the wheel to make it look better, because that, in my opinion, is a nice looking caliper from the factory, but it just looks like more of an eyesore than it would have been otherwise, given the fact that it's unpainted. From what I understand, this was an option to have this painted with your M package. About $650 to have these painted from the factory, as far as I understand. Okay, so now I'm putting a garbage bag around it. I played out how I was hoping, where it would stretch over this, because it's a stretch type of garbage bag. This is what I'm using for the color. I'll put a link in the description. I have 2 cans of this. I'm going to do 1 brake at a time just to help control the amount of fumes that are in my garage and overspray, etc. Anyway, so yes, I could technically do all 4 in one shot and knock this out quick, but we'll just do this one by itself, see if there's anything that stands out in terms of a mistake potentially. So let's go ahead and start spraying this. We're going to do light coats, probably about 2 or 3 coats until we get even coverage. And by the way, this is meant to go over bare metal. You don't need a primer. So judging by the way this is laying down, as long as you let it dry in between, let it tack up before you go for your next coat, you should be able to get even coverage right now. Because I didn't use a primer, it's a little blotchy, but it's starting to grab. So you just gotta take it easy, let it tack up before it's fully dry, go for your next coat. That will get you that even look. Now in terms of the logo, I got these stickers. I'll put a link in the description for them. I had them made so we can put a M logo on the brake, because with this color, they look a little bit silly without it. But if you were to buy the painted calipers from the factory, you would have had this logo on there. They come that way. So just FYI, I'll be applying an M logo on these calipers. Okay, so the instructions say to do 2 light coats and then do 1 heavier coat. When I did the medium heavy coat, I got a couple runs, but it won't be noticeable through the wheel. Probably rate this at like a 5.5 or 6 in terms of looks up close. With the wheel on, probably look fine. But keep that in mind. You may want to use the metal primer or whatnot, because some parts of this are relatively smooth and it doesn't bind there. So you got to keep the can far away and dust over it. So I'm going to give a dust coat now just to get it looking even, and then we'll get ready for clear. Another tip to keep in mind is if you ever plan on pulling the sticker out, you'll have trouble if you put it on without letting this fully cure. But I'm just going to basically let this be dry to the touch, which it is now, and then spray clear on top of it. The genuine brakes actually have more of a grayish color. I couldn't find that. It's kind of like an off-white. I just looked at my G80 M3, and maybe this is slightly smaller, but anyway, slightly tacky given how white that is and how big it is. but it was really the only option. It won't really stand out behind the wheels, so just keep that in mind. And the way this looks on camera, it probably looks great right now. In real life, some of the blotchiness was noticeable on the front surface, but when I put the sticker, it hid it. It's all about, hey, once you get a tiny bit of dust on this, do you have to spend hours prepping this, or can you spend 5 to 10 minutes per side and make it look 6 to 7 out of 10 and make it actually somewhat appealing and better than just bare raw steel? That's what I'm going for here. So that's dried to the touch now. I'm going to apply clear coat. So this isn't a two-part clear, so it's a little tricky in terms of getting shine but not getting a run. I went a little aggressive on that, but that should smear out and let gravity take its course. I'll just do one more light coat after that tacks up, and then we'll be done on this side. All right, this is where I'm gonna leave it. If you get close, it kind of looks pathetic, but you know, I'm not a professional painter or anything like that. But from 5 feet away, it looks actually really good, and behind the wheel, probably look amazing. We're gonna leave it there, and I'll show you the other side just for contrast, just so we can see where we came from. In contrast, just a night and day difference in terms of how that looks. So we'll let that dry up a little bit, take off the masking, and then we'll come over here and paint this side. Here's a look with the rim back on. If you guys were wondering, the temperature range of this paint is okay for brake calipers. It looks good. So while the front's drying, I'm going to prepare the back. I'm going to remove this clip first. I'm not putting a lot of energy here because these don't really look that great. It's just to make them match the front. I wanted to really make fronts pop. This is just like the G80 M3 where the rear one kind of looks like a standard generic brake caliper. So I'm not putting a whole lot of energy into this. This is simple to paint though. So, and the sticker is gonna almost look silly on here, but you know, just for matching purposes, I'll put it. So basically 2 light coats. We'll do our 3rd heavier coat and then we'll get ready for clear, and we'll finish the front as well. Keep in mind that you may want to mask off your body as well. I was trying to be very careful with the amount of overspray. It's not windy in here, so it's not going to get on the paint. This is still very smooth to the touch. But the floor, for instance, is covered in a dust. And this will all be oversprayed on, but it's dirty anyway. My paint is still perfectly clean. Worst case, you'd have to clay bar after, but you may want to put your garbage bag up into the panel. My car is naturally a little bit dirty right now. Let's take it for a wash. It should look perfect, and I'm going to polish it later on anyway. Putting on the clear over the sticker to secure it. That M sticker didn't really turn out that great on there. I don't even know if it'll last, but for now it's holding. I'm leaving it alone. Let's see if it cures with the paint. Put the wheel back on back here after I put that clip in. So if I had to be honest, I probably did something wrong because I only ended up using 1 can of the base and 1 can of the clear, but it looks good. Now, if you tend to be a little bit OCD and you expect this to look as good as factory, I wouldn't recommend you do this. I'm actually all about trying to save some time for projects like this because I'm not too OCD. At the end of the day, as soon as you drive on this for 10 minutes, it's gonna start to get dirty and the details won't matter. This isn't a rough wearing part of the car. The people that reviewed these stickers are happy with them. They don't turn yellow. They hold up, even with heat, from what I've read. All right, guys, that'll conclude this video showing you how to paint your brake calipers on your M Sport brakes on your F Series BMW. Would I say this is a really thorough method and what you should follow if you want a perfect result? No. I would say this is probably the minimum effort you could do with the least amount of material and time possible without it turning out horrible. Really, it looks like 10 out of 10 from 2 feet away because it's behind a wheel. Why would you spend so much energy trying to make it look perfect? That's my opinion anyway. And there's a quick shot of the rear brake. So if you have unpainted factory Brembo brakes and you want to make them look a little bit nicer for very little money and just an afternoon of time, you could follow this guide. You could spend more than twice as much as I've spent and spend maybe 4 or 5 times longer to make it look mint and perfect, but really nobody's going to be popping your wheel off and examining that. So yeah, I expect some criticism. I understand that my methods here were not thorough, but it shows you what's possible with, I would say, the minimal amount of effort. The main thing a lot of people will probably say is, what about the overspray? What are you going to do about your paint? My paint's fine, but take care, be responsible, be conscious of the fact that you may have wind in your area, etc. So if this is the first video you're catching on mine, please consider subscribing. I do upload regularly. If you liked it, please give it a like so a rank higher. Thanks for watching.